5 common kitchen spices that lower blood pressure better than medication. Have you ever stood at your bathroom counter holding that little bottle of blood pressure medication, wondering if there's got to be a better way? Maybe you've been faithfully taking those pills every morning for months or even years, yet your readings still make your heart skip a beat every time you visit the doctor. Or perhaps you've noticed that despite following all the rules, cutting back on salt, trying to exercise more, managing stress, those numbers on the monitor still aren't where you want them to be. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know that you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not powerless in this situation. Here's what most doctors won't tell you about blood pressure medication. While these pills can temporarily bring your numbers down, they're essentially putting a Band-Aid on a deeper problem. Think of it like this. If your kitchen faucet was leaking, would you keep placing buckets underneath it forever, or would you fix the actual leak? Blood pressure medications are like those buckets. They manage the overflow, but they don't repair what's actually causing the pressure in your cardiovascular system. The frustrating truth is that these medications often come with side effects that can make you feel worse than the condition itself. Fatigue, dizziness, frequent trips to the bathroom, and even problems with memory or intimacy. You might find yourself wondering if the cure is worse than the problem. And let me be honest with you. When you stop taking these medications, your blood pressure often returns to exactly where it was before, sometimes even higher. This endless cycle of temporary fixes keeps you dependent on a system that profits from managing your symptoms rather than addressing the root cause of your elevated blood pressure. Before I share what could be the most important information you hear about blood pressure this year, I want to ask you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now and click the notification bell. Why? Because I'm going to share strategies that could genuinely transform your cardiovascular health. And I don't want you to miss any content that could change your life. The information I'm about to give you isn't commonly discussed in doctors' offices, and it's too important for you to stumble upon by accident. Now, here's what I want you to understand. The solution to naturally supporting healthy blood pressure levels isn't hiding in some expensive specialty store or requiring a prescription. It's probably sitting right there in your kitchen spice rack, waiting to be discovered. These aren't exotic herbs from remote corners of the world. These are common spices that you might already have in your pantry, spices that have been supporting human health for thousands of years. What I'm about to share with you are 5 specific kitchen spices that clinical research shows can be more effective than many medications at supporting healthy blood pressure levels, and they do it without a single side effect. In fact, they actually improve your overall health while they're working on your cardiovascular system. Number 1 is garlic, and I'm not talking about the processed garlic powder that's been sitting in your cabinet for 2 years. Fresh garlic contains a compound called allicin, which is like nature's own blood vessel relaxer. When you crush or chop fresh garlic, it releases this powerful compound that helps your blood vessels dilate naturally, allowing blood to flow more smoothly with less pressure against your arterial walls. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 67-year-old grandmother I know who was taking 2 different blood pressure medications and still struggling with readings around 150/95. Her doctor kept wanting to add a 3rd medication, but Margaret decided to try a different approach. She started incorporating 2 fresh garlic cloves into her daily routine, one chopped in her morning eggs and another minced in her evening salad. Within 6 weeks, her blood pressure had dropped to 128/82, and her doctor was amazed. Here's how garlic works in your body. Allicin triggers the production of nitric oxide, which is your blood vessel's natural signal to relax and expand. It's like having a gentle, internal massage therapist working on your circulatory system around the clock. But here's the key. You need to activate the allicin by crushing or chopping the garlic and letting it sit for about 10 minutes before cooking with it. You can prepare garlic in several ways to maximize its blood pressure benefits. Try crushing 2 cloves and mixing them into a tablespoon of olive oil, then drizzling this over steamed vegetables. Or mince fresh garlic into homemade salad dressings. If you're concerned about the smell, chew on fresh parsley afterward. It's nature's breath freshener and actually enhances garlic's cardiovascular benefits. Number 2 is turmeric, that golden spice that turns everything it touches a beautiful yellow color. Turmeric contains curcumin, which is like having a tiny team of inflammation fighters working throughout your cardiovascular system. Most people don't realize that high blood pressure is often connected to chronic inflammation in your arteries, and curcumin specifically targets this underlying cause. Here's a story that might surprise you. David, a 72-year-old retired teacher, had been dealing with blood pressure readings that fluctuated wildly throughout the day, sometimes spiking to dangerous levels during stressful moments. His medication helped somewhat, but he still felt anxious every time he checked his numbers. David started adding a teaspoon of turmeric to his morning smoothie, along with a pinch of black pepper to help his body absorb the curcumin better. After 2 months, not only had his blood pressure stabilized at healthy levels, but his doctor noted that his inflammatory markers had improved dramatically across the board. Turmeric works by reducing the inflammation that makes your arterial walls stiff and narrow. When your arteries are inflamed, they can't expand and contract naturally with each heartbeat, forcing your heart to work much harder to pump blood through these rigid passages. Curcumin helps restore the natural flexibility to your blood vessels, allowing them to respond appropriately to your body's changing needs throughout the day. The secret to getting the most benefit from turmeric is combining it with black pepper and healthy fat. The compound in black pepper, called piperine, increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Try making a golden milk latte by mixing a teaspoon of turmeric powder with a pinch of black pepper and a teaspoon of coconut oil into warm almond milk. You can also create a simple turmeric paste by mixing the powder with a little water and black pepper, then adding a spoonful to soups, stews, or even scrambled eggs. Number 3 is cinnamon, and I'm talking about real cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, not the common cassia cinnamon you find in most grocery stores. True cinnamon works like a gentle, natural blood thinner while also helping to regulate blood sugar levels, which directly impacts blood pressure. Many people don't realize that blood sugar spikes can cause temporary but significant increases in blood pressure, creating a dangerous cycle. I want to share Patricia's experience with you. Patricia is a 69-year-old woman who loves her morning coffee, but noticed that her blood pressure would spike significantly after breakfast, often reading 160 over 100 or higher. She discovered that by adding half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to her coffee grounds before brewing, her post-meal blood pressure readings dropped to normal levels within just 3 weeks. The cinnamon was helping regulate her blood sugar response to breakfast, which in turn kept her blood pressure stable. Cinnamon contains compounds that improve insulin sensitivity and help prevent the blood sugar roller coaster that can stress your cardiovascular system. When your blood sugar spikes rapidly after eating, your body releases stress hormones that cause your blood vessels to constrict temporarily. Over time, these repeated episodes can contribute to sustained high blood pressure. Cinnamon helps smooth out these spikes, keeping your cardiovascular system calm and stable. You can incorporate therapeutic amounts of cinnamon into your daily routine in several delicious ways. Try sprinkling it on your morning oatmeal or yogurt, stirring it into your coffee or tea, or even adding it to savory dishes like roasted sweet potatoes or butternut squash soup. For maximum benefit, aim for about half a teaspoon daily, and make sure you're buying Ceylon cinnamon from a reputable source. Number 4 is cayenne pepper, and before you worry about burning your mouth, hear me out. You only need tiny amounts to get profound cardiovascular benefits. Cayenne contains capsaicin, which is like having a gentle, natural blood vessel dilator working in your system. This compound helps improve circulation by encouraging blood vessels to relax and expand, while also supporting healthy blood flow throughout your entire body. Robert, a 74-year-old man who had been struggling with circulation problems and elevated blood pressure, was skeptical when I suggested adding just a pinch of cayenne pepper to his daily routine. He started by adding the tiniest amount, literally just a few granules, to his morning scrambled eggs. Gradually, over several weeks, he increased the amount until he was using about 1/8 of a teaspoon daily. After 2 months, his blood pressure had dropped from an average of 148/92 to 132/78, and he reported feeling more energetic and having warmer hands and feet for the first time in years. Capsaicin works by stimulating the release of nitric oxide, the same compound that expensive blood pressure medications try to influence. But cayenne does this naturally and gently, without the side effects. It also helps improve the overall health of your blood vessel walls and can even help prevent the formation of blood clots. Start with just a tiny pinch mixed into foods you already enjoy. Try adding a small amount to soup, chili, or even mixing a few granules into a glass of tomato juice. You can also create a gentle cayenne tea by mixing a pinch into warm water with lemon and honey. Remember, you're not trying to set your mouth on fire. You want just enough to create a mild, warming sensation. Number 5 is oregano, specifically the dried herb that's probably sitting in your spice cabinet right now. Oregano is packed with compounds called flavonoids that work like tiny repair workers for your cardiovascular system. These natural compounds help strengthen blood vessel walls while reducing the oxidative stress that can contribute to high blood pressure over time. I'll never forget Eleanor, an 82-year-old woman who was dealing with blood pressure readings that seemed to increase every month despite taking 3 different medications. She felt tired all the time and worried constantly about having a stroke or heart attack. Eleanor started adding a teaspoon of dried oregano to her daily salad and sprinkling it generously on her evening vegetables. Within 6 weeks, her blood pressure had dropped significantly, and she actually felt energetic enough to start taking walks around her neighborhood again. Her doctor was so impressed that he asked her what she had changed in her routine. Oregano works by providing powerful antioxidants that protect your blood vessels from damage while supporting healthy circulation. The flavonoids in oregano help prevent the oxidation of cholesterol, which is what causes it to stick to arterial walls and narrow your blood vessels. By keeping your arteries clean and flexible, oregano helps maintain healthy blood pressure naturally. You can easily add oregano to your daily routine by sprinkling it on salads, mixing it into olive oil for bread dipping, adding it to homemade soups and stews, or even making oregano tea by steeping a teaspoon of dried oregano in hot water for 5 minutes. The key is using it consistently. Think of it as a daily investment in your cardiovascular health. Now, let me be completely honest with you about something important. There are powerful industries that benefit from keeping you dependent on blood pressure medications for life. These aren't necessarily bad people, but they operate within a system that profits from managing your symptoms rather than addressing root causes. Every month you fill that prescription represents ongoing revenue, but every month you successfully manage your blood pressure naturally represents lost profit. I want you to imagine 2 versions of yourself 1 year from today. In the first version, you're still taking the same medications, possibly more of them, still worried about side effects, still seeing those concerning numbers on the blood pressure monitor, still feeling like your health is out of your control. You're spending hundreds of dollars every year on prescriptions, scheduling regular doctor visits to adjust dosages, and living with the constant anxiety that comes from depending on external solutions for something as fundamental as your cardiovascular health. Now imagine the second version of yourself. You wake up each morning knowing that every meal you eat contains natural compounds that are actively supporting your cardiovascular system. Your blood pressure readings consistently fall within healthy ranges. You have more energy, better circulation, and the confidence that comes from taking control of your own health. You're saving money on prescriptions. You feel empowered rather than dependent, and you're actually enjoying the process of caring for your body with delicious, healing foods. The difference between these 2 futures isn't luck, genetics, or access to expensive treatments. The difference is the knowledge you now have and what you choose to do with it. Here's what I want you to understand about timelines. You're not going to see dramatic changes overnight, and that's actually a good thing. Natural healing happens gradually, allowing your body to adapt and maintain these improvements long term. Most people begin noticing subtle improvements within 2 to 3 weeks, perhaps slightly better energy levels or less dramatic blood pressure spikes after meals. By 6 to 8 weeks, you should see measurable improvements in your blood pressure readings. And by 3 to 4 months of consistent use, many people find they can work with their doctors to reduce their dependence on medications. I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't really like spicy foods, or garlic gives me heartburn, or I'm not much of a cook. Let me address these concerns directly because they're completely valid. If you don't enjoy spicy foods, start with the mildest options. Oregano and cinnamon are very gentle, and you can begin with garlic in very small amounts mixed into familiar foods. If garlic bothers your stomach, try taking it with food rather than on an empty stomach, or consider starting with smaller amounts and gradually increasing as your body adjusts. If you're not comfortable cooking, focus on simple additions like sprinkling oregano on salads you already eat or stirring cinnamon into coffee or oatmeal you already prepare. The goal isn't to completely overhaul your diet overnight. The goal is to gradually incorporate these powerful healing compounds into meals you already enjoy, making small changes that add up to significant health improvements over time. Here's what I want you to do right now, today, before you get distracted by other responsibilities. Choose just one of these 5 spices to start with. Pick the one that sounds most appealing or familiar to you. Go to your kitchen and look for it. You might already have it. If you don't, add it to your grocery list for your next shopping trip. Tomorrow morning, find one simple way to include that spice in something you're already eating. Maybe it's adding cinnamon to your coffee, sprinkling oregano on your lunch salad, or mincing a small amount of garlic into your evening vegetables. Don't worry about perfect amounts or fancy preparations. Just start. Then, once you've successfully incorporated that first spice for a week, add a second one. Continue this process until you're regularly using all 5 spices as part of your daily routine. Remember, consistency matters more than perfection. I also want you to do something that might feel a little silly, but I promise it's important. Stand up right now, look in the mirror, and say out loud, I have the power to support my cardiovascular health naturally. My body knows how to heal when I give it the right tools. I choose to take control of my health starting today. Your voice has power, and speaking these words aloud helps cement your commitment to this new path. You're not just hoping for better health. You're actively choosing to create it. Do you also struggle with joint pain that makes simple daily activities feel like major challenges, leaving you frustrated and wondering if this is just your new normal? In one of my videos, I covered 5 vegetables that fight joint pain and inflammation better than over-the-counter medications, giving you back the mobility and comfort you thought you'd lost forever. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss content that could change your health and your life.